In this video, we're looking at the Amateur Photography LoRA for Flux Dev. Now, we're checking this out on civitai.com, and I'll put a link to that in the description below so you can go and check it out for yourself. So here we are on the main screen. I'm going to look down here and I'm going to check out the key details we need to know in order to run this LoRA. So on the right hand side, we've got a table that says details. We're going to look in there first, and then we're going to check out some notes under these images, which are some creator notes that have been added. And then finally, we're going to go into a couple of the images and check out the prompt level information. So starting off here, we've got the base model confirmed. It's a Flux 1D, which is Flux Dev, which is great because that's what we're using. Usage tips, strength 0.8, which refers to the weight of the LoRA. It could be called strength or weight, depending on the platform you use. Now, normally under here, we have a section called trigger word, which contains a word or a short phrase, normally, that you need to include in your prompt when you've loaded your LoRA in order for it to activate properly. Now, this doesn't have one, so I'm going to assume that it doesn't need it and it will just activate the LoRA anyway as long as it's loaded. But it could be a case that it does have one and it's missing from here for some reason, so we'll try and find that out in a minute. So under that, we've got the size of the file itself, so 292, so just under 300 megabytes. And then underneath the images here, we've got some notes from the creator. Now, well, I'm just going to concentrate on these top ones because we're going to be using the V6. Well, that's the latest version, so I'm only concentrated on these. So let's go through these just so you can understand exactly what they are. We've got distilled CFG scale, 3.5. That's sometimes referred to as the guidance number. That's pretty standard. Sampling method and schedule type, DEIS with DDIM. Now, if you don't know what that means, or if you don't have access to anything to change your sampling method or type, don't worry about it. If you use a platform like replicate.com, like I sometimes do, you can't actually change the sampler in that anyway for Flux. So just the default sampler that it will run off normal Flux will be absolutely fine for this. Steps 20, resolution suggestion there, which if you don't have a resolution specific choice in your Flux Dev platform, then that's the equivalent of a 4:5 ratio, aspect ratio. I'm going to skip these sub bullet points for a second and come back to them in a minute. At the bottom, we got LoRA weight to 0.8, which we previously touched on. So now under this resolution here, these sub bullet points here, that high-res fix model, these relate to high-res fix specifically. So you've got a model, steps, denoise, upscale by. Now, if this is more granular detail than your Flux Dev platform goes into, and when I say platform, I mean like whether you're using Forge, whether you're using Comfy UI, whether you're using replicate.com, etc., etc. So if your platform doesn't go into this much detail and let you change this, don't worry. Again, you don't need to have all this information available in your software to get great results from this LoRA. But if you can go into that granular level, then there are the settings that the creator recommends. So before we dive into the images here and look at the couple of the prompts, I just want to make sure that we've liked the page here, which I already have done. You know, if you appreciate these LoRAs that people spend their time and resources to create, make sure you give their page a like and, you know, write a comment or upload some of your results and things like that, just to show support. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just click on one of these images and let's go into the prompt level information and see exactly what we've got here. So down here we've got the main prompt itself. I'm not going to read this out, but I'm just having a look. It seems to be a sort of medium descriptive prompt, nothing special. Chaotic streaks in a buff man in a superhero costume, etc., etc. Okay, now we've got a bit of a strange thing happening here in the prompt. If you see this, you've got crumpled sign that reads, and then there's some unusual spaces and formatting going on here. And then that A with a little accent thing over the top. That should just be speech marks around the I can save you from your bad life choices, or I can't save you from your bad life choices. So I don't quite know why that's come out like that there, but that should just be in speech marks and without all those awkward sort of spaces. So just to let you know, you might get some formatting problems on this, and I'm not sure exactly why, but you can copy and paste the prompt anyway and correct it yourself if you were trying to duplicate this exact prompt. Now under this, we've got a couple of other bits of metadata, steps used, seed. The seed's going to be kind of useless in this unless you're using exactly the same setup as the original creator here and exactly the same workflow and chain, which is unlikely. But anyway, so let's have a look at another one quickly. Again, prompt in a medium shot from a slightly elevated angle, etc, etc, etc. Doesn't look like there are any specific trigger words or trigger phrases in here, as long as you prompt for something that's photography related. By the look of it, it's just going to give you the results that you're looking for. There's not really anything else to gain off that, so I'm going to go back to the main screen. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to bring up on the screen a short slideshow of a few images that I'm going to create with my own prompts using this LoRA. And I'm going to do them as a before and after, so you can see what the equivalent images look like with the LoRA, and also just run on sort of vanilla Flux Dev without the LoRA applied. I hope you enjoy.